However you may have felt about this season, we're talking Married at First Sight, season 17. Last night's episode of Decision Day, it was worth a watch. If you guys are new here, my name is Ashley, and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related. And we are back to talk about Married at First Sight, Decision Day, season 17. Y'all know how I do this, okay? But yeah, if you're new here, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join the community, join the family, stay around a while, watch a couple of videos. I might have something that's up your alley if you're into TV, if you're a TV hobbyist or enthusiast. I probably have something for you. As normal, we are going to go couple by couple. I will focus on the decisions first, and then we'll get into the most exciting part of the episode, which was probably the last 20 minutes. Never seen anything like it on MAFS before. Was it healthy? Maybe not so much, but was it entertaining? Absolutely. Let's get right into it. The decisions. We will start out with Becca and Austin. Austin had recently left the apartment, right? Because they just were not seeing eye to eye. Becca's sentiment is that Austin is not giving off camera what he gives on camera, okay? Everything for him and all the other men, she says, is strictly about the optics, what it looks like to the viewing audience, not reality. She feels as though he is not invested in this relationship. He has not done what's needed to be done to make this work. Of course, when they get into the room on decision day, the experts are there and they are trying to do all that they can to lobby to save this train wreck of a marriage. Now, Becca and Austin, it's just not meant to be. I think whatever is holding him back, I don't know if it's attraction. Some people say it's a micropene. Some people say it's impotence. I just don't think he likes Becca in that way. That's all it boils down to. And I do want to say, shame on you, Austin, for not telling her the truth. Because up until this point, even to what we've seen post decision day, Austin still has a struggle with telling Becca the truth. I don't know if she intimidates him. I don't know what it is, but I can't blame that on Becca. That's a him problem, right? And I think the constant battle of, am I good enough for him? Is he attracted to me? Does he like me? That would wear on anyone's psyche and conscience. And I mean, she still never got the dizzle. Okay. So they're there. And of course he's very affectionate because, like she said, she does that on camera. He puts his arm around her. He's there consoling, comforting her as she is pouring out her heart and soul. And he says, I feel like I thought I was doing a good job. I thought I was doing a good job. And so she says, it comes, Becca, what do you want to do? She says, you know what? It hasn't been great, but we need to try it without the cameras. I think it can be better. Let's try it without the cameras. And Austin's on board because, he wasn't going to embarrass Becca publicly by not choosing her when she chose him on decision day. But we should have left it right there. Austin, you should have left it right there because the way she reads you the riot act at the end of this episode. But moving right along, Brennan and Emily, honey. Brennan is obstinate. Okay. He goes in there, not open, not receiving anything the experts are saying. I mean, because Pastor Cal even says, I'm not going to say anything to try to save this marriage. It is Dunners. It's clear to see that. But Brennan, you're like, you're a brick wall. No one can say anything to you. And Brennan's like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you encountered me in that way. I'm sorry that you had that emotion. The worst apology ever. And Brennan's on brand. Brennan's on brand. It made me sad that Emily is still getting emotional about this. Again, they've made up their mind. Brennan made up his mind a long time ago that this was not it. He says that everything that he did, everything that he didn't say was in an effort to protect Emily because he could ruin her. Ruin, he said. And I'm thinking to myself, Brennan, how could you ruin her? What do you have on her? What do you have on this girl? But he said basically he was trying to preserve her feelings, in that he didn't want to disparage her. He feels like this experience showed him how resilient he is because he was able to go through this, and maintain his self-worth and his dignity. Okay. I said, resilient. He said, yeah, I realized I can be in hard situations. I can see red flags and not run away. But Brennan, you didn't physically run away, but that's exactly what you did. You completely shut down the experience at the honeymoon. And I still am inclined to believe that Emily may have overshared some things, and he just couldn't handle it, because we saw the meeting day. He was attracted. He was into her. Something shifted those last couple days of the honeymoon, and it was never right. Since you can guess what happened with this couple, they decided not to stay together, which, a blessing. Okay. Next, we had Claire and Cameron. Now, before, we had heard Cameron say that if Claire had decided to stay with him, he was going to choose her on decision day. Well, it was a completely different story this decision day. Okay. So he gets there, and, he's they're so complimentary of one another. He says, she's a really good person. He said, but honestly, I look at her like my sister. She's my sister. There's no romantic relationship. Anything that was there has long passed away. He said that, when he got sick, he shut down. He didn't want more people involved. He found that it was more draining, but Claire did persist. So she was telling the truth in that she tried to be there for him. But I still think it was never a romantic connection for her. She ain't like that man. And now Cameron doesn't like her. So he decides, oh, let me go back though. Rewind. Brennan and Emily, the way he said he didn't want her at the end, talking about, looks and all that. Very petty of you, Brennan. That was not lost on me. Very petty, very rude. So mean, so rude. Okay. But anyway, back to Claire and Cameron. He basically says, you're my sister. There's no more attraction. I need a divorce for that reason. And she's like, I agree. I totally agree. So they kept it cute. Definitely was rehearsed. Definitely they called each other on the phone as friends, which I think, do it that way, so no one's embarrassed. And they talked about this before. That's what it gave. It didn't give real emotion. Now, as far as Michael and Khloe, we are still waiting on theirs because we know that they started the experience later. But I will say they are getting bucky naked, dare I say. They are having relations, and a lot of relations is what I sense from them. Michael didn't turn Khloe out. But does she like him? No. And will he like her? Because the previews are very telling. So I'm curious to see how this is going to develop. Again, I'm not hopeful for anyone. So we saw Becca and Austin were the only couple who decided to stay together immediately. But we know that's a farce. So the next day, they've done this, I believe, the past couple seasons, where everyone after decision day, they all get together and kind of have this impromptu reunion where they kind of talk and chat and whatever. Honey, before the little mini reunion, we get an update from our good sis Becca, who says, I just got a call from Claire, because Claire is the robber baron, honey. If she has the business, she's going to tell it. I equate her to Lauren, like in the after show. Claire gives the business during the show. Lauren is spilling tea after. Okay. So between the two of them, you're going to get the information that you need. So basically Claire calls Becca and is like, Brennan and Austin are out with that producer. Now, I remember reading or read it very early in this season, but it was related to a producer being with one of the cast members. Well, at the time, we all thought it was Lauren because they kind of besmirched her name with this edit, that she had relations with somebody during the process, which she hadn't. It was all a lie. And so I didn't read much of it, didn't think much of it. But when Becca brings up a producer and how Austin was seen with her, and this is a point of contention in their relationship, I thought, could this be the producer that was allegedly involved with a cast member? I don't know. And so she's like, I thought without the cameras it was going to be better, but he's not giving anymore. He's not giving anymore. So now fast forward to the mini reunion. Baby, when I tell you Becca aired that man out, it's like she had captured everything that she had been feeling this entire season, and she let Austin have it in front of everybody. And the next thing we know, it's a war of the worlds. Okay. It's men versus the women, and everything's coming out. So Becca during this exchange is like, aside from the religion, aside from the sex, aside from the communication, this producer has been the issue in our relationship. Austin's like, I don't know what you're talking about, ma'am. She said, were you with her? I don't remember. I don't know. And I'm like, Austin, oh, you a liar, Austin. I'm disappointed in you, bud. Austin was telling fibs. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, clearly Emily and Claire saw you there, you and Brennan, with that producer. And he's like, well, we were just there. It just kind of happened. And she's like, see, this is why I don't trust you. Because you lie. You're not giving anything I need you to give. And he's looking around like, I mean, he was on the spot. And honey, when the other women start chiming in too, it was up and it was stuck from there, because then Claire comes in and talks about, yeah, because all you men want to do is silence us. Cameron tried to silence me, and baby, what you're not going to do, honey, Cameron said, you're not going to come for me without me responding back. He said, how dare you? How dare you? And you told me to lie every day of this marriage. You told me I couldn't tell these people you weren't attracted to me. You told me, what I think happened with me and Brennan was a misunderstanding. She said, no, it wasn't no misunderstanding, Cameron. You told me you and Brennan were going to be double dating, and he wasn't even divorced from Emily at that point. And it's World War III, honey. Cameron said, I can't take this. He gets up, walks away. When I tell you Claire is feverishly texting him, asking him, begging him not to spill the tea. So apparently it wasn't just the men who were about the optics, honey, because Cam said, I'm not going to let that ride. But ultimately, the women did feel as though the men tried to silence them, and that it was really about optics for all of the men. Now, meanwhile, Michael and Khloe boot up in the corner, and Michael's just looking very concerned. And can I say, Michael kind of was a little fine in this episode. He was a little bit fine in this episode. I don't know. I don't know if it was the holy sweater. I don't know if it was the stance or position that he was sitting in. I don't know. But then Emily kind of gets up and Brennan's like, can't we just tone this down? And I'm like, Brennan, you don't want to get involved in this. And Emily says something nice to him, and she's like, a lot of it came down on you, but I do take responsibility for my part in the relationship not working out. I'm still trying to figure out what Emily's part in the relationship not working was, because as far as I can see, she gave as much as she could give, y'all. I will say, like I said, that last 20 minutes was the most entertaining part of this season that I've seen. I mean, post Lauren and Orion stuff. And they were there as well. Kind of flies on the wall, silent observers, except for when the women started going against the men. Lauren definitely chimed in. That is the thing that happened. Lauren and Orion decided that they are going to be friends, but he's going to have to cut the cake. And what I saw in the previews for the next episode, be so serious. I'm not trying to send anybody to the hot place, but if I was, I would say go to the hot place, because are we not tired yet? Are we not entertained at this point, y'all? But that's it. That's the episode. Like I said, I was, the last 20 minutes, it made it all worthwhile. It made this episode worthwhile. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. If you're still here, kudos to you. Thank you for riding with me. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.